and 16 to 1 bar those. And there is Bog Trotter. John, what about Generous?
Well, I think that he's a ridiculously long price at 40 to 1. He was second to Maxim, and he had Bold Nephew that got the beating of Anges on that run, but they're off. It's a fascinating race, Graham. They're all over to you.
And in the past, Generous has been held up, and he has front run, but he's being held up today behind Bog Trotter, who's going on by a length to Stark South and Surrealist. Leicester poised in third. And then in the blue, the boys in blue are Mujtahid and Anges, Willie Carson and Pat Edery, with Said Air on the outside of that one, Kohinoor with the yellow sleeves and Generous in the dark green jacket as they race through the first quarter mile. Electing to come down the centre of the track, and it's Bog Trotter the leader in the black cap, with Surrealist in second place, Leicester in the hooped sleeves. Then Mujtahid in the striped jacket, and behind that one comes Said. Generous is tucked behind. Kohinoor on the right of the picture in the yellow sleeves is being pushed along to keep its position as they come down past the three, and it's Bog Trotter leading by a length, and Mujtahid's going to have to stretch here if he's going to get back into the action. And then behind these comes Said, and Anges is being ridden along in the blue, and they've got just over 2 to go, and it's old Bog Trotter out in front. Goes on from Stark South in the red jacket, Generous in the dark green, and behind these comes Mujtahid, who looks as if he's held. Surrealist and Leicester Piggott I don't think will be winning, but it's Bog Trotter in the lead as they come past the furlong pole. Generous is in pursuit in the dark green jacket. Mujtahid, the odds-on favourite, is beaten back in third, and it's Bog Trotter with Generous closing with every stride. Bog Trotter and Nigel Day, Generous and Richard Quinn. It's going to be close as they get to the line, and Generous gets there. Generous beats Bog Trotter with Leicester on Surrealist third. Mujtahid, the odds-on favourite, was only 4, but beat Stark South, who gets 5th place and prize money. A big gap to Anges, a gap of some 10 to Kohinoor, and Said dropped out to be last of all, beaten a long way to boot. The result then of this Group 1 Three Chimneys Dewhurst Stakes, its victory in the colours of Fard Salmon for this son of Caerleon, number 3 Generous, trained at Watcombe by Paul Cole, Richard Quinn's 84th winner of the season, and bred at the Barronstown stud. Well done to them. Second horse home is number 2 Bog Trotter, all over the winner inside the final furlong, but Generous outpointed him by a half to 3 parts of a length on the line, with the third horse home being number 8 Surrealist, and there you can just see Leicester Piggott placed in a Group 1 race. And so Generous is Richard Quinn's 84th winner of the season, and it looks like a bit of a result, and it's 50 to 1 at Generous. Would you believe it?
John Frankham would believe it. He had said from the first that he thought Generous would run really well. I must say at this stage of the race, I thought that Bog Trotter was going to expose all the reputations of those behind him. Mujtahid has already been found out. Anges was never really going particularly well, but the one who is still going is Generous. And he's won over a mile, this horse, so one thing he was going to do was stay when it got to the business end of the race. And they've only just missed out on a notable double. Paul Cole thought that maybe he should have won the first race, the Fillies race, the Bottisham Heath with Lee Artiste. I didn't actually agree with him there, but I thought Richard Quinn's given this horse a lovely ride, because as Bog Trotter has made his way for home here, and Mujtahid begins to tire, then Generous, and he certainly picked a little bit of decent ground there just on that far side, Richard. And this horse has really begun to run, and he didn't bother him early on. He's won over a mile, as I said, and I expected him to see it. They're making a lot more of the running, but he's appreciated the cut in the ground today. And at this stage, I still thought maybe Bog Trotter was going to hold on. Richard Quinn's pulled his stick through, and they're having a fantastic run, Paul Cole and Richard Quinn, this season, as well as Fard Salmon. And this horse has just kept the bandwagon rolling.